I think I'm getting the hang of this game and I'm back with some more Reddit and Stardew Valley gameplay. This one is titled, I'm 34, I'm dying, and I'm fucking terrified. I have terminal brain cancer. I'm not even sure I want to say what kind. Doesn't matter. It's the kind that wins. Doctors are saying months, maybe less if things go south fast. I've tried to keep it together for my wife, my daughter, she's not even 3 yet, my parents, friends, but I don't think I've ever been this scared in my life. People keep saying stay strong or just take it one day at a time, but how the fuck do you do that when every day is just one step closer to leaving the people you love behind? I look at my daughter and wonder if she'll remember me at all. That's the part that's breaking me the most. Will she remember how I made her pancakes? How I did that dumb little bunny voice that always made her giggle? Or is she just going to grow up with photos and a couple of videos and that's it? I watch my wife trying to be strong and holding it together for everyone, and I know she cries in the bathroom so I won't hear. We haven't really talked about the end. We sort of pretend it's not real, or we talk in practicalities. Paperwork, insurance, what she'll need to do when I'm gone, but not about it. The actual not being here anymore part. I'm scared of the pain, yeah, but more than that, I'm scared of missing everything. Her first day of school, her reading her first book, her falling in love. I want to be there so badly it physically hurts. I don't even know what I want. From writing this, I guess I just needed to say it out loud. I'm not strong, I'm not brave. I'm just a dad who's dying and doesn't want to leave his little girl behind. The top comment writes, start writing letters for your daughter and wife for big milestones like graduation, turning certain areas. Make videos for your daughter reading bedtime stories with special books. Hope your journey is an easy one. My boyfriend knowingly crossed a relationship boundary and now says he regrets it. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend, 22, and I, 22, have been together for almost 5 years. Last night, he went out with his friend to bar hop. Around 9 p.m., he texted me saying he had left. I didn't hear from him again until he got home around 6 or 7 a.m. This morning, I asked him how his night was. He immediately said, don't be mad, before telling me they ended up going to a strip club. The reason this upset me is because he already knew I wasn't okay with strip clubs. We've talked about boundaries before, so this wasn't something he had to guess about. I asked if his friend pressured him into going, and he said no. His friend simply asked if he wanted to go, and he agreed. I also asked if he participated, and he admitted he threw about $100. To me, that's different than just walking in and out of curiosity, because he actively participated in the entertainment. We talked in person afterward. He said he was curious, but once he got inside, he felt awkward and said it ended up being a waste of time and money. He said he regrets going, doesn't even know why he made the decision, and admitted it wasn't worth risking our relationship over. He apologized and said he knew it was wrong, which is why he told me instead of hiding it. The biggest issue isn't just the strip club itself, it's that he knew this would hurt me before he went. Saying don't be mad tells me he already expected I'd be upset. I also don't understand why he didn't communicate with me when the plans changed. He texted me once around 9 p.m. saying he was leaving, but I didn't hear from him again until he got home around 6 or 7 a.m. If I stayed out all night after my plans changed, he would expect me to keep him updated, so I feel like there was a double standard. Right now, I feel hurt because it feels like he knowingly crossed the boundary, didn't think about how it would affect our relationship until afterwards, and only regretted it after the fact. I told him I needed a few days to cool off because I'm so hurt and angry that I can't even look at him right now. Am I overreacting? Just clarification, he started the night at 9 p.m. He sent a text saying I'm going out with a friend, love you. So he wasn't telling me he's coming home at 9. The nightlife started at night. He just didn't come home until 7 in the morning. I think reading these comments helped me understand the difference between a rule and a boundary. I don't think my issue is simply don't go to strip clubs. It's that he knew this would likely upset me and chose to go anyway without communicating with me beforehand or even updating me when the plans changed. The curiosity itself honestly isn't what I'm upset about. We've actually talked before about what real strip clubs are like because the only reference either of us had was GTA. Being curious isn't the problem. What hurts is that this came completely out of nowhere. If he had come to me beforehand and said, "My friend wants to go to a strip club and I'm honestly curious what it's like," I think I still would have been hurt, but not to this extent. At least I would have felt respected enough to be told before instead of after. Also, I want to clarify the timeline because I think some people misunderstood. He wasn't at the strip club for 9 hours. He said they were there for about an hour. The rest of the night, they were bar hopping, got food, and later pulled into a parking lot to eat and sleep because they were exhausted and didn't feel safe driving home. For me, this is really about the fact that he knowingly made a decision he expected would hurt me, didn't communicate when his plans changed, and only told me after everything was over. I definitely calmed down a lot. Here's what the top comment's saying. This guy says, "These guys legit have no backbone. If my husband, who is not controlling, was legitimately not okay with me going someplace, I'm like, yo, I'm not going to go there. Let's go somewhere else." And your real friends will work together to find some place where everyone wants to go and feels comfortable. Why is spinelessness becoming such a theme? It's like the only time these dudes ever have the temerity to take a stand, they take a stand against their loving partner for having the audacity to ask them to clean their anus or try to get them to exercise more and have a nice day at the beach. Then they will take a passionately mean stand against supposedly being pressured, but never when it comes to something like not going to a strip club or standing up when they see someone being mistreated or helping an old lady across the street. Someone replied to this saying, "I think he wasn't really spineless, but more along the lines of better to ask forgiveness than permission. So personally, I think he wanted to go and is now trying to save face." This next one's titled, "Am I the asshole for treating my coworker differently after she accused me of SA when I saved her life?" I'm a quiet guy and genuinely friendly. I treat all my coworkers as friends. About 2 months ago, during a work lunch, one of my coworkers started choking, so I did the Hemlich thing to help her. After she's in the clear, the others cheered. I asked her if she's alright. She just nodded and headed to the bathroom without a word, so I didn't think much about that. Until 2 days later, I got called into HR for my inappropriate behavior. I was confused and asked for more details. That's when they told me that my coworker had filed a complaint, stating that she felt my touches when I was helping her was inappropriate. My body was too close and she felt my private touching her. I gave my statement and they put me on ice. I was still working with potential to be removed while they investigate further. After a week, I was in the clear. I returned to working normally without fear, but I started distancing myself from the coworker. She tried to apologize, which I accepted. Tried to explain that she has to tell me that she has trauma, but I still take precautions and only treat her as just a colleague. I am no longer talking to her unless I need to. Always keeping distance, no longer inviting her out unless there are others. She could feel my hesitant toward her and how I no longer treat her the same as others. She tried to say that I'm being ridiculous and petty, but I told her that I'm just looking after myself. P.S. Sorry about my English if there are errors, it's my third language. Okay, no wonder, because I was struggling to read this. Comment says, "You have to avoid her now. That's the answer. You weren't fired this time, but she has the power to get you fired. And you do not sacrifice yourself in this situation. That will not solve anything and will only cause you harm." Someone replied to this saying, "What the fuck? Accusing someone falsely of SA is no damn joke and she expects things to remain the same. She apologized, doesn't cut it. Stay far away, please. You're not the asshole in any way." OP made an edit saying, "Wow, this blew up. I'm not very active here, but I have read several comments and DMs. Sorry I can't read all. Thanks for everyone's support. I won't make updates, but I have some clarifications. I'm not from or at any English-speaking countries. Me and the coworker did have a talk. with our colleagues nearby, and she agreed to just limit to necessary contacts that related to work. I won't sue her because everything is resolved, and to be honest, it would just be bringing more problems while wasting money. I also received several DMs about people with similar experiences as me, which made me sad and relieved that I'm not the only one. And I also saw some comments about how I'm not considering and don't understand her trauma, which is fair. If you're harassed for real, then you should protect yourself. But I just hoped she came to me about her uncomfortableness since we've known each other for a couple of years. That's it again, and thank you. Girlfriend pointed an unloaded gun in my face. We were visiting a good friend of mine when he moved out of state. He brought me to his bedroom closet to show me an AR-15 and handgun he purchased after moving. I handheld both guns after checking they were unloaded and I knew they were safe. My girlfriend walks into the room and he hands the AR-15 to her. She does not check it to affirm it is indeed clear. Then the first thing she does is point it directly in my face. I slapped the barrel down and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" in an aggressive tone. She then handed my friend his rifle back and stormed out of the room. She didn't like the fact that I aggressively chastised her for ignoring basic gun safety. She told me you didn't have to talk to me like I'm stupid and didn't understand my point wasn't to make her feel stupid, but that action is dangerous, especially since she's not in the room to witness it being checked for live ammunition. And she did not check the gun herself. Am I wrong for aggressively chastising her, or should I have been nicer? Someone in the comments said, "Not the asshole. Is she dumb? It's like the first step of gun safety. Never point the gun at anyone. Like, she didn't know what could happen. Anything could have." Someone replied to this saying, "The first rule of gun safety is always treat a gun as if it's loaded. The second rule is never point a gun at something you're not willing to destroy. Third rule is never hand a gun to someone that doesn't know rules 1 and 2. Am I the asshole for explaining to my husband he's the reason we keep having daughters? I, 30F, have 2 daughters and I'm currently pregnant with my 3rd girl. We just found out this morning. On the drive to my husband's mother's house, he explained how he was a bit disappointed about having a girl. But then again, I said I should have expected this because you have 3 sisters. I explained that me having 3 sisters have nothing to do with the gender of our child. He said it's genetics and that I'm the reason for our daughters. I told him that's not how biology works. He said it is. He then went to explain that his mom only has brothers and his 2 oldest brothers both have 2 sons because his mom's side. I told him that doesn't make any sense because it should be the same for him then. He said no because both of their wives have more brothers than sisters. He was getting frustrated, but I was just laughing at him. I explained that him and his oldest 2 brothers have different dads. But out of his dad's 8 kids, 3 are boys and 5 are girls. The man determines the gender. He said that that's not true because the kids his dad had with his mom are all boys. He dropped it and said he'll ask his mom, who has a degree in biology. So we get to his parents' house for brunch and he asks his mom if I'm the reason we keep having girls. She told him bluntly that the man determines the gender and it's actually not a 50-50 chance. She then went to explain that the more of one gender you have, the higher the chances that your next child is going to be that gender. So he asked, is it likely that he'll have a boy? She told him that if he keeps trying, it might happen. He just walked to the car and said he's going for a drive. I received a text from him saying that I didn't have to embarrass him like that. I was so confused. Am I the asshole? The top comment says, "Not the asshole. You might give that man access to the internet so he can do some research." Someone replied to this saying, "And you can send his mom flowers." And another person replied to the second person saying, "As a biology teacher, she must be pretty embarrassed that her son didn't learn basic biology." Someone else replied to that comment saying, "Right, I learned this in 9th grade." Okay, so this next one's titled, "Am I wrong for leaving my boyfriend for doing his friend a favor?" I, 19F, and my boyfriend, 22M, have been together for 2 years. He has this friend, A, who's a lesbian, yet she's one of those stereotypical I'm not like other girls, I'm one of the boys' girls. Very much written by a man vibes. Anyways, sometime last week we were all hanging out. We have the same friend group and somehow got to the topic of sexual relationships. She stated that she had only had sex with girls. This made my boyfriend absolutely shell shocked. I mean, he was flabbergasted, stuttering, and saying how she's basically still a virgin. So, A jokingly said that maybe he should take her virginity. He got all flustered and clammed up. Obviously, on the ride home, I told him this made me uncomfortable, but of course, he said that's just how she jokes, it's not that deep. Long story short, they went out for drinks Monday. He came back and told me they had sex, and it's not cheating because she's a lesbian, and he was doing her a favor by taking her man virginity. I was appalled and left, yet I'm getting bombarded by texts from him. A and the group saying how it's nothing, how it didn't mean anything, and how I'm being ignorant. I feel like I'm going absolutely crazy, and I feel like if they were in my shoes, they'd count it as cheating and leave too. I just want to know if anyone has any input or advice because I don't know what to think at this point. Edit. Yes, we're clearly not together anymore. Obviously, I'm hurt and upset. I'm just trying to figure out if I could have handled the situation better by not storming off and leaving since everyone in our group thinks us breaking up is an overreaction. Edit number 2. Yes, we started dating when I was 17 and he was 20. Ooh. Where I live, the age of consent is 16. It's legal, don't worry. Oh no, no, girl. No, 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 no. Edit number 3. I understand that dating a 17-year-old at 20 doesn't look good on his part, and in no way am I defending him, but I am the one that persuaded him and kept pestering him about going out on a date with me. He reluctantly agreed. He reluctantly agreed and it went from there. I was the one persuading him into being with me. Okay, I can't wait for the comments. Someone said, nope, I'm gay. Nope, nope, nope. He's a dirty cheater and she just wanted to sabotage your relationship. She's scum and he's toxic. Run from them, all of them. They're super messed up people. You're not a bigot, they're just radioactive. Someone says, as a fellow lesbian, I agree. What she did and what he did was downright dirty. Someone else said, if I follow the logic since she's a lesbian, had to have sex with a guy to lose her man virginity. Now he should have sex with a guy to lose his man virginity. It should be the same, right? Lesbian has sex with straight guy and straight guy has sex with a gay guy. I'm sure OP wouldn't mind this one. Am I wrong for cutting contact with my friend for wanting to hook up with my daughter? My 47F friend, 40F, and her husband, 48M, are known to be swingers, although they never confirm or deny. I met this friend, I'll call her Sarah, at my old place of work 7 years ago. She was my coworker. I worked at that job for many years. All my coworkers were like family to me. We were all very close. So even when I stopped working there, I kept close contact with my ex-coworkers and we would hang out often. My daughter-in-law, 26, baby shower was a couple days ago and it took place at my house. So I invited many of my friends, including Sarah and her husband. The baby shower was going great until my daughter, 19, came up to me saying that she thinks Sarah and her husband are hitting on her. I asked her why she felt that way, hoping it would be some sort of misunderstanding, but my daughter said that Sarah kept talking about my daughter and her boyfriend's 20, I'll call him Dan, looks, saying how attractive they were, complimenting their bodies and asking about their sex life. My daughter said her boyfriend looked visibly uncomfortable. Sarah then offered my daughter and her boyfriend to come to her place with her husband when the party was over. My daughter just awkwardly laughed it off and then went to tell me what happened. While she was telling me, Sarah's husband, I'll call him Jay, was talking to Dan. The conversation started off about sports, then somehow became about sex. Jay asked Dan straight up if him and my daughter wanted to go back to his place and swap out ladies for a little bit. and immediately declined, to which Jay replied, "You're no fun," and kept trying to convince him. Dan walked away after that. I didn't want to start drama at a baby shower, so the next morning I confronted Sarah over the phone about what happened. She said, "I don't see what the problem is, they're both adults." That response made me livid, but I was trying with all my might to keep my cool. These were my issues. Number one, why would you try to plan a hookup at my baby shower? Number two, why would you hook up with your close friend's daughter and her partner? Number three, Sarah and her husband have known my daughter since she was 12. Sarah refused to apologize and accused me of kink shaming. I said some not so nice things on the phone, and I did threaten to beat her ass if she comes close to my daughter or her boyfriend again. I told her to never speak to me again and blocked her number. Some of our mutual friends said I overreacted because it's not like she was trying to force your daughter to have sex with her husband, and said they were just asking my daughter and her boyfriend if they were interested, so that makes it okay. I wonder how they would feel if she did that to her children, so am I wrong? Okay, someone in the comments said that's not kink shaming. Sarah and her husband have no boundaries. They should no longer be friends. Someone else said, I mean, I'm totally oversexed, kinky person and I'm ashamed for them. Jesus fucking Christ. Read the room. 19-year-olds aren't interested in our haggard old behinds for one, and two, your friend's kid? So much ill. Get a boundary. Am I the asshole for humiliating my ex's new girlfriend in front of our friend group? Posting from my inactive account because I have some friends lurking in my main one. I, 22F, broke up with my boyfriend 24M around 8 months ago. We decided to mutually call it quits and parted in pretty good terms, which is good because we just happened to share a friend group. After a rough patch, I decided to start taking a bit more care of myself, eating better, going to the gym, going to therapy. The shift was pretty evident, both in my attitude and the way I looked. My friends said I looked much happier and healthier, and I began gaining confidence little by little. Now I am a huge nerd. I play D&D weekly. I have thousands of hours in Stellaris, and most relevant to the story, I like to cosplay as a hobby. Most of my old cosplay involved characters that don't show their face or body too much. Hornet from Hollow Knight, Mono from Little Nightmares, etc. But since I'd been feeling more confident, I decided that for the big con in my city, I'd like to try something different. A friend convinced me of going as Viper and Chamber from Valorant, so for the past 6 months, we've been pouring most of our free time into the cosplays. 3 weeks ago, I sent a picture of me wearing the cosplay to the group chat asking for feedback for the final details. My ex immediately DM'd me asking me to please not wear that cosplay to the con because it might make his new girlfriend uncomfortable. I asked what about it would make her uncomfortable, but he refused to elaborate. I knew he was dating someone new, but I didn't know she was coming with us to the con. I tried to explain to him that this was the work of months and I couldn't just throw it all away just because a girl I'd never met felt uncomfortable about it. In the end, I wore it to the con and it was a huge success. I tried to keep my distance from the larger chunk of our group because my ex and his new girl were with them, but we did spend a good part of the day with them. Throughout the whole thing, the new girl kept making snide comments at me and laughing whenever I got asked to pose for pictures. Everyone looked uncomfortable, but nobody said anything. After leaving the con to have dinner, though, another friend asked the new girl if she wouldn't like to try cosplay as well. Her answer was, "Why would I need more attention from guys? I already have a boyfriend, I'm not a slut." I snapped and told her to stop acting like a pick-me bitch just because I got attention all day. She started to cry immediately. My ex steps in asking me to apologize. I tell him I'll only do it if she apologizes for the way she's been acting around me all day. More and more of our friends start to join the screaming match, and it gets so bad we end up getting kicked out of the restaurant. It's been 5 days and my ex is threatening to leave the friend group if I don't apologize. I honestly wouldn't care if he did, but some of our friends are asking me to do so to stop him from leaving. Should I cave? Top comment says, I'll apologize after your girlfriend apologizes for implying that we, the people cosplaying, were sluts. Short, sweet, and to the point. Let's see his hypocrite ass respond to that. I'd also tell your friend group that this is your stance. It's the most fair for everyone involved. This next one is titled, My ex-husband married his mistress 2 months after our divorce. I feel like I've been living inside one of those Reddit stories that everyone assumes has to be faked. My ex and I were together for 13 years, married for less than 2. A month into our marriage, my only sibling died tragically and suddenly. It completely shattered my world. My husband watched me grieve and told me he would always be there. Instead, while I was trying to survive the worst period of my life, he was apparently building a new one. Last year, I underwent major surgery to remove a massive uterine tumor that had been causing me issues for years. We had a plan to travel to the Mayo Clinic, recovery, etc., but a week before the surgery, he woke me up and told me he was done. If this sounds familiar, it's because I've posted here before when it was all unfolding. At first, it was the usual script. I've been unhappy for years, we've grown apart, it's not about anyone else. Then the pieces started falling into place. There was another woman, a coworker. She was married too. She lived over 1,500 miles away in a different state. It had been going on for 8 months. As more information surfaced, there were trips that suddenly made sense, overlapping timelines and explanations that no longer held up. The divorce was brutal enough on its own. With him trying to take my dog, that he at first said he didn't want, my money, and it dragged out for months when all I wanted was to be done. But here's where it somehow gets even crazier. Our divorce was finalized 2 months ago. Today, I found out they got married to each other and didn't tell anyone till it was posted on Instagram. I honestly laughed when I was told by a mutual friend because the timeline is so absurd that if I watched this in a movie, I'd complain it was unrealistic. Imagine blowing up 2 marriages, uprooting your entire life, moving across the country, and deciding, you know what would really prove everyone wrong? Getting married immediately. I'm mostly okay these days. Therapy has helped. I'm moving soon. I kept my dog and my life is genuinely getting better, but I still can't get over the sheer audacity of the entire thing. It's like they speedran every questionable life decision, affair, divorce, cohabitation, new dog, new marriage, all in less than a year from when he suddenly left. The irony is that when our marriage ended, I wondered what I'd done wrong. Now I look back and think, I don't even know this person. Was it all fake? So I guess my question is, have any of you ever seen people move this fast after an affair? Did it actually last, or is this just the we have to prove everyone wrong phase before reality shows up? Because from where I'm standing, this entire saga feels less like a love story and more like a season finale on Bravo. There's not many comments under this post, but the top one says, always remember that the best revenge is to have a good life. Am I wrong for refusing to apologize to my fiance's mom for something I wrote in a never send therapy letter? I am 28F. My fiance is 30M. We have been together for 5 years, engaged for 8 months. His family is very involved, like group chat every day, shared holidays, constant drop-by visits. I come from a much quieter background where people text first and don't discuss every single feeling at the dinner table. His mom is sweet in some ways, but she is also extremely intense. She comments on my weight, on our future kids' names, on what kind of wife she thinks I should be, all with this smile like it's just harmless talk. I tried to set small boundaries and she cried twice, saying she just wants to be included. It got to a point where I started having stomach aches before we visited. My fiance suggested couples counseling last fall, partially because of the wedding stress, partially because he could see I was withdrawing around his family. Our therapist gave us an exercise where we each write unsent letters to the people we are frustrated with. The rules were you write honestly, you never have to show it, it can be messy and unfair. The point is to get the raw feelings out so you can look at them with the therapist and figure out how to communicate the cleaned up version in real life. In my letter to his mom, I did not hold back. I wrote that I feel like she wants a second wife for her son more than a daughter in law. That I feel inspected like a product she bought. That her constant comments about my body and fertility scared me. I also wrote some harsher stuff like that I sometimes dread having children, partly because I imagine her criticizing my parenting every day. It was ugly and emotional, but it honestly helped. I brought the notebook to our next session because the plan was to read selected parts with the therapist and my fiance present. The night before the session, my fiance came over early while I was showering. My notebook was on my desk. He admits he opened it just to see what you wrote about me, and then kept reading. By the time I came out, he was sitting on the couch looking like he had been punched. He said the things I wrote about his mom were vicious and borderline character assassination. I reminded him it was a private therapy exercise, not an email to his family. He said that doesn't matter because now he knows what I really think of her and that it feels like betrayal that I never said anything that strong to him. Since then, he has been insisting I need to apologize to his mom in person for harboring those feelings and for speaking about her that way in any context. I told him I will happily work with a therapist on how to set actual boundaries and maybe have a calm conversation with his mom about specific behaviors. But I am not apologizing to her for words she was never meant to see and only knows about it because he violated my privacy. He keeps saying if I loved him, I would repair the damage to his family, and that keeping this line is me choosing resentment over his mom. Now I'm stuck. Part of me feels bad that he's hurt by reading my rawest thoughts. Another part of me is furious that my safest space exercise is being turned into a weapon. My best friend says he should be apologizing to me and that if his mom ever hears about the letter at all, that's on him. My sister thinks I should just swallow my pride and say sorry so this isn't hanging over the wedding. Am I wrong for refusing to apologize to his mom for a private therapy letter he was never supposed to read in the first place? Okay, I'll read some of the top comments for you guys. Someone said, you have nothing to apologize for and you should probably break up. Someone else said, yeah, I hate jumping to break up, but it is very telling that his first reaction is to protect his mother from you versus protecting you from his mother. Of course, he should never have read any of this because raw private thoughts is the point. But honestly, his shocked reaction should have been, OMG, I didn't realize my mom's behavior was hurting you this strongly, not OMG, I can't believe you hate my mom's behavior this much. Someone else commented this saying, he heard your raw feelings, which he never should have done, and immediately took his mother's side over yours. He didn't address your turmoil at all. He grossly violated your trust and then turned around and blamed you for it. In the immortal words of Charlotte Dobre, absolutely not. At the very least, put that wedding on pause. Do not legally bind yourself to a man who treats his mother more like a life partner than he treats you. He's not on your team, and that needs to change before anything goes forward. Also, he owes you a groveling apology for violating your trust like that. Okay, so this one's titled, I told my friend why I don't want to date him, and our friends are saying I broke him. So my 21 female friend of 10 years, Mark, not a real name, 23 male, called me yesterday to meet him for lunch and that he had something important to discuss with me. I had free time, so I agreed. I met him already there and joined him. We had lunch, we talked a bit about random things. Then he cleared his throat and started speaking. First, he told me that he didn't understand why I was dating my now boyfriend when he's a better match for me. asked him to explain, and he basically went on about how he liked me first and he met me first. He's more good looking, knows me better, he's taller than my boyfriend and more successful, which is not true in any way. My boyfriend works aside from growing up in wealth while Mark's entire life is funded by his parents' money. He told me he doesn't understand how I can be with him when he's always been around waiting for me. I was out of words and asked him if he wanted me to be honest, to which he said yes. I told him that I would never want to date him given how I've seen the way he treated his past girlfriends. He ghosts them when he feels like it and just expects them to be there waiting. I told him he's too immature and irresponsible for me and that dating him would be exhausting. I also explained that the reasons I mentioned was why, over time, I started putting a distance to our friendship because I didn't like the way he treated women in his life. When I was done, he was just quiet. He just excused himself and left. I went home and went about my day. Later in the evening, our other friends started asking what I did to Mark and that he's been a wreck since he met me for lunch. He's drinking and not telling anyone what happened. I explained to them what happened, and they are saying I was harsh and that I broke him, but I think someone had to tell him the truth. So, Reddit, am I the asshole? Reddit. I know everyone says this, but whoa, I didn't think this post would blow up so much. I'm trying to get through the comments and answer some questions that are there. Was sort of occupied the whole day, so I just opened Reddit. Thank you all for the comments. Edit number 2. I'm so overwhelmed by the comments in a good way. Most are really funny. I've been laughing so much I woke my sister's baby. I've sent my post to my friend not associated with Mark, and our group chat is blowing up with more laughter. But in all seriousness, I'm thankful for the great comments and people giving advice on my safety. I'll definitely be more aware of my surroundings going forward. I don't know Mark as a violent person, but then again, this incident has proved that I may not know him like I think I do. Mark is currently blocked from everything. Our mutual friends who were supporting him and calling me out are also blocked. And this is also a lesson to me to distance myself a lot more quicker next time I see red flags in future friendships. Edit number 3. I have an update, but I'm not sure if I should put it below here since this post has gotten quite long, so I'll just make a new post for those who are still interested in this post. Okay, here's what people are saying in the comments. Not the asshole. Even if you kinda liked him, I feel like declaring his feelings by being rude about your current partner is such a turnoff. He doesn't say anything meaningful or romantic about you, just that he thinks he's better than your actual boyfriend, so you should date him instead. So entitled. Someone said, right, it's like a competition with another guy and he forgot the end goal. Maybe compliment the woman you're after instead of complimenting yourself. So tone deaf and zero self-awareness. This dude sounds like a total douche. Someone replied to this saying, it's the I met you first comment for me. So does that mean my mom's OBGYN has dibs on me? Get out here with that bullshit. Someone else said, it was the I'm taller that got me. Am I the asshole for telling a friend's boyfriend that he can't have a traditional wife because he's not a traditional man? I, 25F, was hanging with some friends and their significant others last week. To make a long story short, my friend's boyfriend kept talking about how women no longer want to be traditional wives, and that's why many of them are single. I responded that in 2025, women don't feel like they need a man in order to provide the lives that they want for themselves. He kept going on about what women used to do and how they were all about taking care of their husbands and household without complaining. I let it go on for a while, but I got tired of hearing his rant and told him that he can't have a traditional wife when my friend goes 50-50 on all the bills with him and works more hours than he does. I continued with he isn't a traditional husband and can't provide for his household like he's supposed to, so that my friend can stay home and do those traditional duties. I may have become the asshole when I told him that. It sounds like he wanted another mommy and not a wife. It became silent, and he told me that my way of thinking proved his point. Conversation pivoted elsewhere and I thought that was it, but I got a message from my friend saying that her boyfriend was upset at me for what I said and I embarrassed him. He wants me to apologize, but I don't think that I should have to, being as though I was responding to his rant about traditional women. My friend said she doesn't think I'm wrong, but doesn't think I'm right either. And I should have just let him talk because he had a few drinks. Update: I called my friend to try and understand why her boyfriend was embarrassed and why she was trying to be Switzerland in the situation. She explained that I'm her friend, and although she doesn't disagree with what I said, she feels like she needs to have her man's back as well. I told her that she doesn't have my back by asking me to apologize to him and not standing up for me, or at the very least, telling him that what he was saying was idiotic. We talked for about an hour, and I actually feel like it didn't get anywhere. I told her that I would not apologize and that he can't come around me anymore, and she was very upset with that statement. I feel like I lost a close friend, and that hurts a lot, but I will not be disrespected. Sorry this isn't some juicy stuff, but I wanted to update everyone on how the situation ended. Okay, some of the comments here says, so he gets to have an opinion and you don't? He's butthurt because he got proven he's a hypocrite. Don't apologize. Oh my lord, that comment, what you're saying proves my point. Like, what point is that? Women should be subservient, obedient, like butter churning baby making F-holes. These Andrew Tate wannabes are so cringe-worthy. I'm glad he got put in his place. Not the asshole. I mean, she did explain why women no longer want to be traditional wives and be single rather than live with a man who wants a traditional wife that also supports him financially. So he was right about that. What upset him was she gave a valid reason why, and that reflected badly on him. He doesn't deserve an apology. The one here I'd worry about is the friend. I'd like to ask her why he needs his feelings soothed just because he was drinking, but expect she had him blow up on her once home. Am I the asshole for wanting to charge an 11-year-old for theft and destruction of property? So about a week and a half ago, my son's phone was taken from his bag at primary school. I managed to track it using my iPhone and it led me to a house. From that house, I banged on the front door and was answered by a mom. I explained that I tracked my son's phone to his house, and from there I discovered her son and two of his friends had just been there. She calls him and then I follow her in my car to a second kid's house. At this house, all three kids are there and I tell him I don't care who stole it, just hand it back and it's done. All three kids swear black and blue that they have never seen it and know nothing about it. I exchanged numbers with the mom from the first house and the dad from the second house. Then I have to leave knowing full well one of them has it. I get home and receive a call from the mom from the first house. She has checked the security cameras from her house and discovered the kid from the second house who swore that they have never had a phone is miraculously holding a phone in the footage. This has already been sent to the dad, and next minute I get a message from the guilty kid's mom asking if she can come to my house. Her and her son arrive teary-eyed and apologetic. I just ask for the phone back and she shakes her head saying that he has smashed and destroyed it. It was only an iPhone XE, so not expensive, but as a single mom working full-time was my means of communication with my son. She asked if she can go buy me a phone, but now I ask if she just contributes $100 and I'll find a similar phone off Marketplace, as I prefer an iPhone as I connect it to mine and can monitor parental controls and other settings. She agrees and is happy to pay that. It has been over a week now and she has stopped replying to any messages and won't answer any calls. Last message I sent was me saying if I didn't receive payment, I would report and charge her 11-year-old son. So am I the asshole if I charge him for theft and destruction of property? Also, as a side note, I have camera footage, admission of guilt in her text messages and agreeing she would pay me, as well as her son admitting to the school that he stole it as well. So I have enough evidence to go forward. Update. So, after not responding to my messages for over a week, I messaged last night saying I was going to the police in the morning to make a report, and the money was transferred this morning. I read all the comments why I didn't report first, and it's because I guess I waited so long because I still want to think people will do the decent thing and didn't want to have to go down to the police road for a minor amount as they have more important things to do. At the end of the day, though, I'm not going to raise my son to be walked all over and just stick to your word, but I'll sort it now. Someone said, not the asshole. Actions have consequences. You have been more than reasonable. If money was tight or there was some issue with getting you cash, she should have spoken up about it. Yes, except now the price has gone up to a new phone, not $100, used from the marketplace. Okay, so this next one is titled, Am I the asshole for calling my wife's friend's dating technique idiotic? My M38 wife, F34, had some of her friends over for dinner, and we were all talking about this and that. One of her friends, 32F, starts talking about how she can't find any good men to stick around. My wife and her friends are sympathetic. We keep on talking about her and her latest dates, and she starts talking about her dating technique. This is essentially to show as little interest as possible and to ghost guys she likes, since she wants them to fight for her. I laugh and say that this is just plain stupid, and of course she will not find any good men since only the bad ones will actually do that. Like, good guys who will respect you will never keep chasing if you send out the signal that you don't want them. I am on the spectrum and can have a hard time realizing when people are upset, so my wife bumped me and told me to shut up. Later, after everyone left, she told me she agreed with me, but I didn't need to be so blunt about it. So am I the asshole? Edit. So this blew up more than I thought it would. I have tried to read most comments, but it is just too many at the moment of writing. Most of you said I'm not the asshole, but I will admit that I could have framed it better. I am on the spectrum, but I am under the firm belief that while it might explain why I put my foot in my mouth, it does not excuse it. I showed this post to my wife since some of the comments made me wonder some things. First being if they never told her this themselves, since it's kind of a dick move on their part. She said they have, though not as bluntly as I did, just saying that would never work as she thought it would, but she just keeps doing it. Apparently, 3 years ago, she messed up royally on her long-term relationship of 4 years. They had a fight. She went out to get some drinks to cool off, and in her anger, she slept with another guy. I asked her if she knew if she was really drunk when it happened, since it does not excuse her actions. It would not make her more susceptible to manipulation from bad eggs. According to her friend, she was not drunk, just in an awful place mentally and wanted to punish him. She then felt extremely guilty and told him, and then he dumped her. Since then, she has had nothing but one-night stands and short-term flings from not-so-good guys. The best one lasted 4 months, but due to bad communication or her way of dating, he thought they were friends with benefits and she thought they were a couple. So when she found out he was sleeping with other people, she was heartbroken. She is a really sweet person, very bubbly and kind. I think she might just have some kind of trauma from her long-term ending the way it did. My wife does not know if she used this technique before that relationship or she just started after. Anyway, I hope she stops going about it that way and finds someone good. I have told my wife to tell her I'm sorry for the way I phrased it. The comments say, not the asshole. If yes means yes is to fully be accepted to society, then this playing hard to get nonsense needs to die. If anything, OP saved the wife's friend from a type of toxic positivity that would lead her into a lifetime of loneliness without even knowing why. I'm only sorry that the wife and her other friends weren't the ones calling her out. They're not even very good friends in my opinion. Am I the asshole for videotaping my wife eating all my fries to make a point? I've seen many posts about wives, girlfriends who insist they don't want anything when the husband or boyfriend is getting food, but then proceed to eat his food. So I apologize if this sounds familiar. I don't eat a lot of fast food, but I do indulge when we have long drives. My wife typically packs a lot of healthy snacks for herself: yogurts, salads, protein bars, whatever. I like McDonald's. She claims the food is disgusting, but then invariably wants a few fries and ends up eating half of them or more. Although she always denies eating so many and claims she just had a few. On the trip in question a couple weeks ago, she and I and my 13-year-old son, Nick, wife needs a bathroom, so we pull off at an exit where there's a McDonald's. Son and I go order food to go while she's in the bathroom. I asked her if she wanted anything, as I always do, and she said no, but I will take a couple of your fries. My go-to order at McDonald's is the $5, although now it's $6 at a lot of places, value meal, which includes a McDouble, 4 McNuggets, and a small fries and a drink. It's plenty of food for me. It will still be plenty if my wife took a few or a couple of fries. I like McDonald's fries, but I always get them last because while I don't mind if the fries are not piping hot, I do like the other food best when it's still warm. Side note, having read other Reddit stories on this topic, I'm sure someone will say just order more fries even though she says she doesn't want any. I've tried to get a medium for me and give her the small from the value meal, but a medium fries is almost $4 and it is over $4 with tax. That's adding over 60% to cost of the meal. And when I've done this, then she insists on not touching the fries because I told you not to get any for me. So now I've got a smaller fries and a medium fries to eat on my own, which I can do, but it seems like a waste to spend another $4 since I was perfectly happy with the original amount of food. Anyway, on this day, I tell my son I want to do an experiment. I tell him after we get our food and get back to the car to take out all of his food, take my burger and give it to me, and take my McNuggets and hold them in the back seat, so that the only thing left in the bag is my fries. Now, admittedly, a small fries at McDonald's isn't that many, but it's typically at least 20 to 30 fries. I tell him to put the bag with the fries on the console between my wife's and I's seat, and to set up his phone to take a video of the bag from the back seat, which will record until I tell him to stop. I tell him that I am not going to put my hand in the bag at any time, and I predict that his mom will eat all of my fries. Sure enough, we're driving along. I eat my burger, make some small talk, see my wife's hand go into the bag several times. I ask my son for my McNuggets. I eat those. For your information, I eat them sauce-free, so no mess in the car. Chit-chat further, all the while smirking to myself as I see my wife's hand go back into the bag some more. Finally, she says, "Okay, give me your garbage," and starts putting it in the McDonald's bag. I say, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Cleaning up." I say, "I still need to eat my fries," and she said, "We ate them all, honey." I'll admit I overreacted a bit here on purpose, incredulously announcing loudly, "What do you mean we ate them all? I haven't had any." To be clear, I wasn't mad. This was just the result I expected anyway. But I tried to act mad while suppressing laughter. She said, "Don't be silly, I only had a couple." And I repeated that I had not had a single fry and that I had video evidence to prove it. She said, "What do you mean?" And I said that Nick had taken a video of the past 20 minutes or so, and you will not see me take any fries from that bag. So if they're all gone, it's because you ate them all. And she blew up at me and him in a way that I did not expect, yelling about videotaping without consent, as if I had made a superstitious sex tape or something, yelling at Nick for going along with your father's foolish pranks. I told her I just wanted her to understand that she eats more of my food than she realizes, and this is why I would prefer to just get her a separate order of fries so that we can both enjoy our food without resentment. She never watched the video, although I think she now believes that she did in fact eat all the fries. However, she's been ignoring me and worse, treating our son badly, blowing up at him for little things that never have bothered her before for the past 2 weeks. Expecting an apology for videotaping her, I guess. I thought this was a harmless way to make my point. Am I the asshole? Okay, so the top comment says, not the asshole. Years ago, I told my wife that the way she talks to me to a significant amount of time is rude and bitchy, and she didn't believe me. Somehow, the answering machine recorded her talking to me, and we found the recording later when listening to the messages. She said, "Wait, I really sound like that?" I said yes a lot of the time. She was visibly embarrassed and started working on her communication style, which got better. Long story short, sometimes people need to see unbiased evidence because they're too wrapped up in protecting their egos to admit to criticism from someone else. Someone replied to this saying that was really grown up of her to realize and change her ways. And someone else said, if only OP's wife was grown up enough to do this. This one is titled, My Mother-in-Law Doesn't Let Me Have Sex with My Husband. My husband and I got married a year ago. He and I didn't live together before. In fact, we hardly saw each other because we both worked and studied at the same time, so our time was quite limited. We got married and went to live together in his apartment. Unfortunately, 2 months after our wedding, his father died in an accident. My mother-in-law and my husband, who is an only child, were devastated as it was quite sudden. My mother-in-law, left alone, began to suggest to my husband that we move in with her to her house to keep her company. But because she is from another state, we couldn't due to our jobs and college. Then she came to us. Our apartment is 2 rooms, so my mother-in-law occupied one and my husband and I occupied another. I mean, my mother-in-law never liked me. She is one of those mothers who think that no woman is good enough for her son. As a couple who are still in the honeymoon stage, we had sex very frequently, every day, even up to twice a day. This changed when my mother-in-law arrived, since the apartment is so small, so I didn't feel comfortable doing it with her living there. The thing is that when we did have sex, my mother-in-law magically interrupted us. It didn't matter what time it was, even if it was 3 a.m., she casually got up and knocked on our door asking, "What are you doing?" Or telling my husband that she feels bad because her head hurts or things like that. This has been going on since my mother-in-law moved in with us. It's been 7 stressful months. Besides, I have no privacy of any kind. She criticizes everything I do, especially my food. My husband tries to give me my place, saying things like, "It's not true, Mom. The food tastes good." What really annoyed me was the fact that she started saying that several things of value and money were lost in her room casually the day I stayed home. I had the day off from work and study in the afternoons. I really got fed up. I told my husband that this really wasn't what I expected. I agreed to let her move in with us because my father-in-law passed away and I was really trying to be empathetic to her and her pain, but I'm not going to let her call me a thief. Now I'm back at my parents' house. My husband keeps calling me and sending me messages to come back, but I don't know what to do anymore. This is really stressful. Okay, update number 1. Hello, good evening. Thank you all for your advice and comments. I tried to read them all. I wanted to give you a little update. I returned to my husband last Thursday while I lived with my parents. We were talking and seeing each other. The first time I agreed to talk to him, I told him that he really had to do something about his mother because our relationship was going down the drain. We kicked his mother out. She didn't take it so well. Remember how I told you she wanted to sell her house? Well, she actually did. She put her house up for sale. What surprised me so much is that she listed her house for sale at well below the average cost, considering where that house is located. Apparently, she was about to close the deal with some potential buyers. She hasn't communicated with anyone since she left. We also don't know if she returned to her house, and now everything is fine. My husband also thanked me because he couldn't stand having his mother in our apartment anymore. I also made it very clear to my husband that if his mother had behaved differently, I would never really have minded if she stayed with us. I feel a little bad for her, but she really brought it on herself. I was always kind despite her treatment. Okay, update number 2. Hello, it has been several months since the last update. Long story short, my mother-in-law returned into our apartment. After my husband kicked her out, she didn't contact us for about 2 months. Then she began to resume communication with my husband. 3 months ago, we received the news that my mother-in-law was diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. My husband asked me to move her mother back with us, and given the situation, I accepted. But she continues with the same attitude from the beginning, and now it's worse since she needs various care and I must take care of her. I quit my job to take care of her full time. We are drowning in debt since my husband's salary is not enough to cover all expenses. My husband suggested putting my mother-in-law's house up for sale again, and she refused, saying that it was the only thing she had left and that she wanted it to be my husband's inheritance.